morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mike. Good to see you.
Hey, you too. Eileen, read anything interesting in the Tribune lately?
Yes, and I'm glad to be retired.
Okay, I guess we're about ready to start the meeting. Hello? Hello?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Dennis, I hear you.
Okay. Okay. The City of Lakewood Civil Service Commission meeting on October is adjourned. Is beginning. Since this is a virtual meeting, I will have everyone introduce themselves. My name is Commissioner Dennis Roden. I'm the chair.
Eileen Bisson, Commissioner.
David Boyd, Commissioner.
Mary Candria, Civil Service Secretary.
And I'm Mary McDougall, HR Director. We're just here to learn more about the Zoom meeting to observe and help Mary as she needs it.
I'm Heidi Wachter. I'm the City Attorney, and I'm currently advising the Civil Service Board.
And Mike Zarro, I'm the Police Chief for Lakewood.
Thank you. All right, the next item is the approval of the February 6, 2020 meeting. The
I
minute,
motion that the minutes be approved as presented.
Second that.
any discussion? I would like to note that there are a couple of items there, old business, Civil Service Rule 9.7 review, and the Rule of 5 referrals for officer that are very relevant to today's meeting. If no further discussion, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 The ayes have it. The minute is approved. The next item on the agenda is old business, the Rule of 5 referrals for officer.
Yes, at our last meeting, it was decided to delay taking action on the proposed rule changes until all commissioners are present. In addition to the revisions to Rule 10.7, Rule of 5, action is needed to approve changes to 10.4 and 10.7.1. With Rule 10.2, request to fill vacancy, I recommended deleting that rule. It isn't necessary for the rules to include the detailed process for submitting a requisition to fill a vacancy. And then with Rule 10.4, regular appointment, basically those are housekeeping changes. Rule 10.6 changes to 10.7. The last sentence is deleted as it no longer applies. And Rule 10.7, Rule of 5 has been discussed in our previous meetings. The addition to 10.7.1, multiple vacancies, is added for clarification.
Thank you. there a motion to approve this rule?
Yes, I'll go ahead and a motion to approve the rules as stated.
I second the motion.
Okay, further discussion? I would like to point out that as I understand this, what has happened, previously when it was required that the police department specify whether it's a lateral or entry level position, if they were not able to or did not select from either the lateral or the entry level list, they could then cancel that request and then ask for the other list. Isn't that correct, Mary?
Yes. It hasn't happened very frequently, though, that we've actually canceled.
Okay. And as I also understand you previously, you did check with other police departments, and that there was the people with whom you checked, there was not a department that had a similar rule. Is that correct? Also, is my memory correct?
I found that they did not have a rule that was similar to our existing.
Okay, all right. And this rule was continued to this meeting in order to have Commissioner Bisson also present so that she could vote in addition to Commissioner Boyd and myself. Any further discussion?
I would like to put something into your record of this vote, and it's in response to a question that you asked earlier about what rules other jurisdictions have. And we specifically contacted Puyallup, and at the time the rule was rolled out, your secretary relayed to me, I think there were 4 or 5 different cities with the rule as we were proposing it. It is not an uncommon practice to have the dual lateral or entry level. So I just wanted to add that to the discussion so that it's on record.
Thank you. All right, then. All in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The rule is adopted. New business, certification of detective eligibility list.
Okay, we have a list of 6 today for detective. The exam process was completed in early March. And as I mentioned, there are 6 eligibles on the list.
Do we have any vacancies for detective?
Not at the time, no.
And the demographics?
We have 5 white males and 1 Asian male.
Is there a motion to approve the police detective eligibility list?
I move that the police eligibility list be approved.
I second that.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of approving the police detective eligibility list of October 1st, 2020, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The list is approved. Certification of lateral police officer list.
Our names have been added to our existing list. 8 applicants were invited to interview. 1 person declined as he was newly employed with Milton PD. And we had 6 scheduled an appointment, then 1 canceled and 1 was a no-show. So that left us with 4 names, or 4 people to interview. They all passed, so 4 names are added to the list. And demographics, we have 5 males, 4 white, 1 Hispanic, and 1 2 or more race.
No matter of curiosity, are any of these candidates from the city of Seattle?
I don't believe this. It's been a while.
Okay.
I won't swear to that.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the lateral police officer eligibility list of October 1st, 2020.
I make a motion that the lateral police officer eligibility list be approved.
Second that motion.
Further discussion?
I have a question. Are these all from in-state?
Yes.
Okay. Just curious, that's all. Nothing further.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of approving the lateral police officer eligibility list of October 1st, 2020, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The list is approved. Workforce demographics.
Yeah, so since it's been a while since we've gotten together, you've got a listing of the past 4-quarter activity. And since January, we've had 2 officers on line. January, we lost a white officer, and we lost a female officer who was 2 or more races. And those decreases are reflected in the March and June charts.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks like there's only been two officers who have left in a year.
Yes.
I was looking at it from protective class, and I think, Mike, the department has done a great job in representation as far as I would compare to any other agency in the Pierce County. I think we've done real well. We're over 20% of protective class, and that's fantastic.
Thank you.
I agree with Commissioner Boyd, including the 2 or more races. Minorities make up 28% of the workforce. The females officers are 6.5%, and that will be, I believe, a future challenge. But it's, as I understand it, it's quite difficult to be able to. First of all, you need to have vacancies, and then, of course, have an adequate number of female candidates on the list.
True.
And I will say too that we had actually 2 conditional offers out to prior to the world coming to an end with COVID. 1 to a female entry-level applicant and 1 to an Asian male entry-level applicant. So those numbers will change even a little bit more. And I think we're getting close to being able to bring them on. We actually had to cease the process right after they accepted the conditional offer. So they weren't actually employees because of the COVID shutdown. The female officer, just kind of a point of interest, is the daughter of Deputy Kent Mundell from Pierce County. So I'm hoping within the next month, knock on wood, we'll get some good budgetary news that will allow us to complete their hiring process and improve those numbers even more.
Thanks, Chief. I was going to ask who the female candidate was who was offered. I was curious as to whether she was the one. I remember her when I attended the interviews, and she did quite well.
Yeah, she and the other applicant have both been very patient. We've been reminding them almost weekly to maintain their physical fitness so that there isn't a fall off when it comes time to go to the academy. But we still have academy dates for them. We've been able to push them back. So we'll be able to bring them on in short order once we get the word.
That's super.
Good.
That's super. All right, any further discussion? Mary, thanks very much for providing 1 year's worth of statistical data. You know, previously there was the previous quarter and this quarter. Of course, we haven't met in 10 months, but I like this format of having 1 year's data to look at. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's get to the Chief Examiner's report.
Well, I was going to mention the 2 conditional offers that were extended. The Chief has already covered that, so I'll move on. We had 2 compliance officers start in February, and we evidence technician resigned in March. We also lost Officer Jasmine Wright Curley, who resigned in May.
I had a question, and this is for the chief. What's happening on the budget for the police with regards to being able to hire additional officers, or do you even need additional officers?
Well, actually, the budget's still pending. We're not looking at additional officers for sure. And we're hoping, not necessarily looking at cuts either, just the amount of positions that we'll actually be able to fund in the next biennium is what are under consideration. But I don't know that we necessarily need to hire additional officers right now. We just like to get maintain what we have. And the additional officers part might come in, at the end of this next biennium when we start looking at the expected mass retirements in the 2023-24 biennium.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All right, then. The commission is going to recess into an executive session for approximately 10 minutes pursuant to RCW 42.30.110, paren 1, paren G, to evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment. The commission is not expected to take final action following the executive session, except to adjourn the meeting.
Heidi, are you there?
Excuse me?
Looks like Heidi has left the meeting.
Okay. Never. Sorry, so I guess what we all need to do is leave this meeting and then join the that I had set up. Oh, there's Heidi. Heidi?
I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. I was running over to the other Zoom room. I'm sorry, what was the question?
So I just want to double check with you. Is there any change we need to make to the statement about breaking for the executive session or regarding coming back?
Yeah, and that's exactly what occurred to me. I was so busy getting over to the other Zoom room. I thought, oh, this is my big moment. I help people with the whole process. And I cut out as exactly as Chair Roden was doing the script. Here's the way it typically works. And part of the reason we got the script we got from the clerk is that the council almost never takes action after their executive session. So that's the script that was provided to you. If you intend to take action, or there is a possibility that you could take action other than adjournment after the executive session, the city clerk is pretty Zoom proficient and will be able to help everybody get back in the room to come to the meeting. If there's the potential for action, you need to advise the public there's the potential for action. And you do need to stick to, if you say we're going into executive session for 10 minutes and you finish your business in 5 minutes, you come back in 10 minutes. And the idea is that if somebody is watching, they don't get to see the executive session, but that they would come back in time to see whatever business you're going to do. Your options are that you can say that you're going to come back, at which point you do have to come back, but it doesn't bind you to taking action. Or you could say no action is going to be taken at this meeting, regardless of what happens in the executive session, we'll hold action for the next meeting. I'd be happy to entertain other options that you'd want to look at. And I've talked to the city clerk about this. She does think that logistically she can get everybody back in the room. In any event, the chair Roden will have to come back to adjourn the meeting, regardless of whether or not you're going to take action. But you need to advise the public whether you'll be taking action and after what amount of time in executive session. If you don't know, I would say that means there's the potential that you might take action.
Okay, now, since I indicated the commission is not expected to take final action following the executive session except to adjourn the meeting, does this mean that we cannot take a vote whether to uphold the or to allow the disqualification or not?
You cannot take a vote in executive session. In
Right.
matters that are exempt from the or exceptions from the Open Public Meeting Act, where you can have the discussion outside the public view, the vote absolutely must be taken in public, yes.
Okay, so when we reconvene, we can then take a vote and then adjourn the meeting.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All righty, then, since it's been, okay, it's 9:56, we've talked for a few minutes now. This is still being recorded now, isn't it?
This Zoom room is being recorded and the clerk will jump in if I'm missing something. Your executive session requires you to go to a second Zoom room that is separate from this one. That Zoom will not be publicly viewed. And then you're done with the executive session portion, you come back to this publicly visible Zoom room. And the clerk jump in on me, so I think I've got that correct.
Yes, that is correct. You've each been provided a link to a private Zoom room, which you will join. You will leave this room and join the private room for your executive session. I would just again clarify that if you're recessing into executive session, to clarify whether or not the commission expects to take action upon returning or not.
That Zoom room should be identified in the link you received as Mary Pandrea's Zoom meeting. That is the private link.
Okay, and with regards to the 10 minutes, the 10 minutes starts when the executive session is convened?
Correct.
Okay.
If the quorum is in that room, that convenes your meeting. So when two of you make it to the Zoom room, if the third one isn't making it in, we may need to extend the time because the clock does start running when you have a quorum in there.
I understand.
Do each of you have Ms. Schumacher's information in case you run into any difficulty? And clerk, do you want to provide some version, your preferred version of way that they would contact you?
Yes, if you have any issues accessing the private Zoom meeting, I can be reached at 253-983-7705. And I will be at that number during your meeting. Chief?
I just want to check with the commission. It's not an automatic that I'm a part of the executive session. So if you would like me to be there, I need to be asked and invited. And if not, no big deal either. I just wanted you to be aware that it's not an automatic that I would join.
You will have legal counsel in your executive session automatically. If you feel that there are informational points that you need pertinent to the decision you're going to make, you do not violate any of the boundaries by inviting any member of the city staff in, and you don't risk violating attorney-client privilege if it's a city staff member. So that's entirely up to you.
Thank you. Commissioner Boyd, Commissioner Bisson, do you have any questions?
None from me.
Dave? Did Dave leave already?
Looks
like he's mute.
He's muted.
If you're wondering how to
Dave,
you press or either put your arrow cursor or your finger, if you have a touch screen, on the microphone. It should appear with a line through it on your screen somewhere, either at the top or the bottom. And if you press that, it should unmute you.
You can also just press the space bar.
Yeah.
Dave?
Deanna, are you able to unmute him? David?
No, I'm sending you a ask to unmute, but for some reason it's not engaging on my end either, Mr. Boyd. So I don't know if anything's appearing on your screen asking you to unmute or not.
David, are you able
I'm
to?
back now. I don't know what happened, but I'm back now. Yes, I'm ready to go.
Oh, okay, super. Did you hear all of the information that was
Yes.
provided by
Yes, I heard it all.
and Chief? All right then. If not, then we will recess into the executive session, as I had previously indicated. So we're going to leave this meeting and then we're going to log into the executive session.
Chair Roden?
This is Chair Roden of the Lakewood Civil Service Commission. The executive session will need to be extended an additional 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brianna, they're finished. I told them to go ahead and start over because it might start coming over because I thought it might take a minute or two. And it looks like they're starting to come in.
I'm here.
Civil Service Board, you have a quorum and it is now 10:30.
Here we go.
You're on mute, Chair Roden. You need to unmute.
Dennis, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Okay. The disqualification, the proposed disqualification of an applicant for the entry-level police officer list. What was the name of the applicant again, Mary? Michael Presley.
Are we at a point where we can make a motion? I don't see Heidi here. Oh, there she is.
I'm here. Procedurally, yes, you are at the point where you may make a motion.
Chair will entertain. Hello?
I would like to make a motion that the information we received regarding Mr. Presley is sufficient enough to have him removed from the entry-level list as requested by Chief Zara.
I second that motion.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of removing Mr. Presley from said list, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Presley is removed from the list. All right, any further discussion? Items on this meeting? It's been an experience. All I had was Zooming with our daughters, but attending a Zoom meeting and doing an executive session at the same time has been a real learning experience. Thank you.
You've done well, Dennis.
And nice seeing you all.
Good to see.
Indeed.
Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I will make that motion that we do adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Be
You bet.
safe, everyone.
All right,
Be safe.
bye-bye.
Get rest.
Yep, take care of you all. Nice seeing you.